Good morning. My name is Len Foy, and I am a real estate attorney. My office is located in Nashua, New Hampshire, and most of you probably have already seen a number of video segments or installments that we've produced. Most of my videos have been produced with the assistance of my daughter, Natalie Foy, who has also served as my moderator. But she's in school right now, as she should be, so I'm going to be going it alone on this particular installment, which I think will be rather brief. Some of our videos are 5 minutes in length, some of them are 20 minutes in length or duration. This one I think we'll try to keep on the short side. But we're always trying to demystify the real estate process. It never ceases to amaze me how complicated our real estate process is and is becoming more complicated every day. And a lot of people that come to it, they come to it with a lot of misunderstanding about it. The truth of the matter is that the average American family will purchase several pieces of real estate throughout their lifetime. That's not always true. Some people buy a house and they live out their days there. And then there are people who never buy real estate, they rent throughout their lives. So certainly there are outliers, but I think that in the mainstream, you find that people will purchase at least several pieces of real estate throughout their lives, and even that level of activity is not sufficient to really give people a solid, thorough understanding of the real estate process. So I think even for most people it's a process they only half understand. They understandably rely upon experts like lawyers and home inspectors and real estate agents to guide them through it, and their loan officer, of course. But the purpose of this video presentation and all of the other presentations are to continue to try to deconstruct and demystify our system of real estate so that when people come into the real estate marketplace, they have a solid understanding of who does what does this mean, how do I do that, tell me about my closing, let's talk about titles, let's talk about deeds, let's talk about title companies, let's talk about title insurance, let's talk about all these things and understand these things, rather than sort of feeling your way through the process, almost like somebody trying to feel their way around an unlit or a darkened room. Having maybe a general idea of where things are, but not really having a clear picture of where things are. So in our ongoing effort to try to demystify and deconstruct this process, I wanted to talk a little bit today about the difference between a title company and a real estate attorney or a real estate law firm. And in some cases, of course, there are no differences at all. But those are different terms. We hear them used in different contexts. And so today I want to explode those myths so that people that watch this video will come away from it with an understanding of, yeah, I think I understand now what a title company is versus maybe what a law firm is. So first of all, whether you may or may not realize that, but when you buy real estate, you will typically be working with a lawyer or a title company. Sometimes a lawyer at a title company. Every now and then I see somebody buy real estate without the involvement or participation of an attorney. And that usually means a couple of things. It can mean that no title examination of the purchased property was ever conducted, which is frightening, and we can talk about that. It means by necessity that no title insurance was issued, unless it was issued by the seller or by the seller's attorney, in which case the seller's attorney would have conducted a title examination. But I guess, I don't want to get bogged down here, but every now and then I will have somebody come into my office who basically bought real estate informally, and basically the process consisted for them of delivering a cashier's check to someone in exchange for a deed. I've even seen situations where they delivered a cashier's check and all they got was a bill of sale. They didn't even get a deed. And we had to go back and we had to clean that up and actually prepare a deed and record the deed. They had given somebody a whopping amount of money in the form of a cashier's check, and they didn't even really consummate the real estate transaction the way they thought they had. So, traps for the unwary everywhere. But suffice it to say, the difference between an attorney handling a real estate transaction and a title company handling a transaction is based in part on where the property is located. So that's probably the first and most important distinction that we need to manage. We'll talk about the states of Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Massachusetts is technically a commonwealth, but it's the functional equivalent of a state. Sorry to be technical, but I do want to be mindful of the fact that technically it's not a state; it's a commonwealth. But the first most important difference between saying buying real estate in Nashua, New Hampshire, or in buying property in Tingsboro, Massachusetts, and for those of you who are familiar with our geography, you will realize that those two communities actually abut. So on the New Hampshire side of the border, we have Nashua. On the Massachusetts side of the border, we have Tingsboro. So if you're buying property in Nashua, New Hampshire, it would not surprise me at all if you were working with what is known as a title company. And a title company is sometimes owned by an attorney, sometimes owned by non-attorneys, and there are certain regulations and specifications that those firms need to meet and to adhere to if a title company in New Hampshire is going to be managed and owned entirely by non-attorneys. And non-attorney just means somebody that's not a member of the bar. So New Hampshire, it's much more common for people to use title companies to buy real estate. Title companies can conduct an examination of the title, they can issue title insurance, they can act as the transaction coordinator. So in New Hampshire, that is quite common. Now, of course, we have attorneys in New Hampshire that handle closings. Not only locally, here in this area, I would be an example of that. We have a title company, we'll talk about that, but I also have a law firm. My law firm does handle real estate transactions in New Hampshire. The law firm we frequently use for our commercial real estate transactions, but if somebody were to walk through the front door and say, I'm buying a residential property in Nashua, but for my own reasons I prefer that it go through your law firm and not your title company, we can do that. My law firm is authorized to conduct real estate transactions in the state of New Hampshire. When you get out into the more remote parts of the state, it goes to more of an old-fashioned model, and you find that attorneys tend to be more prevalent. So if you get in the Keene area, let's say, or if you get in the Claremont area, or if you get into upstate New Hampshire, far upstate, up by Canada, certainly there are title companies there too, but it's a little bit more common for a local attorney with a general practice to have a real estate practice as a part of his or her practice and to handle real estate transactions. But New Hampshire, the model of attorneys having essentially a monopoly on real estate transactions in New Hampshire went away many, many years ago. And so now the state of affairs in New Hampshire is that a lot of realtors have a preference for using title companies. There's a perception that they're less expensive. There's a perception that they're more agile and more customer service oriented. I don't agree with those perceptions, by the way. I think in many cases those are misperceptions, but they've taken hold nonetheless. So I think what you'll find is that a lot of real estate transactions in New Hampshire tend to go into the hands of title companies and be handled by title companies. And I am proud to say that we have a title company, and it is a wonderful title company. The name of the company is Sunset Settlement Company, LLC. I founded it myself in 2008. A lot of other title companies have come and gone in that time. 2008, as many people will know, was the epicenter of the financial crisis. I have seen a number of title companies since mine was formed disband or merge into other title companies or basically just cease to exist. So I'm very proud of my title company and its performance, its financial performance over the years. It's a very strong company. It's a very good company. It's a very reputable company. and I would encourage you to do business with us. So our title company here is Sunset Settlement Company, LLC. A lot of people have asked me, I want to try to keep this a little folksy and offer some personal insights when I can, so that people have a better idea of who I am and how I tick and what I'm made of. I've had a lot of people ask me, Len, why did you name the company Sunset Settlement Company? It's a great question. It's twofold, really. First of all, the sunset, in my mind, has always been the idyllic ending of maybe a wonderful day. It's metaphorical, of course, and I'm going to try not to get too deep. So I think the closing is oftentimes it is the wrap-up of the transaction. The purchase and sales agreement, the home inspection, the negotiations, the title examination, solving title problems, massaging issues. All of that activity builds to a climax, and that climax is the closing itself. And the closing is when the parties and the realtors and the lawyers come together to sign legal documents and to make official all that they have done leading up to that point. And I think that moment should be an idyllic, peaceful moment, a moment of glory and accomplishment, and a positive moment. So I think sunset is somewhat of a metaphor for that. Also, I began practicing law in California, and because that is where I began practicing law, a lot of my attitudes and my early formative years as an attorney were molded and shaped and affected by that. And I can remember being in the Bay Area, Northern California, in the San Francisco Bay Area. I remember going out and touring the city of San Francisco, which is among my favorite cities. And the Sunset District is probably my favorite neighborhood in that city. And so when it came time to name my company, I wanted to be a little bit creative. I wanted to be a little bit nostalgic. I wanted it to have currency and meaning, but I also wanted to try to harken back to another time and to distant memories and to fond memories. So, thus, the name, the firm was created, a star was born, and the rest is history, so to speak. So on the subject of title companies, if you are in need of a great title company in the state of New Hampshire or Maine, which I'm not even going to get into that today, but title companies are frequently utilized in Maine, and Sunset Settlement Company is authorized to close real estate transactions in Maine too. Please call us at Sunset Settlement Company. My name is Len Foy. I'm the president and managing attorney of Sunset Settlement Company. Our number is 603-598-4030. Okay, let's talk about lawyers handling real estate closings. We've talked about how lawyers in New Hampshire handle real estate closings. So you'll see that. I'm not gonna advertise those firms here on my video, but certainly if you were to look on the internet or look through the yellow pages, you would see lawyers holding themselves out to do real estate closings much the way title companies advertise themselves. Massachusetts, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, quite different. It is an attorney, what we might popularly know, what we might refer to as an attorney state. And what that means is that attorneys have a legal monopoly over the process of closing real estate transactions. You will see title companies in Massachusetts, so that, I guess that's the first curveball I'll throw at you. But understand that when you see that, you see a title company that is entirely owned by attorneys. And for marketing reasons and for other reasons, they've decided to present themselves in the marketplace as a title company, trying to perhaps grab hold of some of the positive feelings that people might have about title companies. They're cheaper to work with than attorneys. They're faster than attorneys. They'll do the closing at night, whereas maybe an attorney won't. They won't make people come to their office for the closing, but the attorney probably will. A lot of these are myths and misconceptions anyway, but it's where the title company has positioned itself in the marketplace as being a more convenient and cost-effective alternative to working with an attorney. So some attorneys trying to get out in front of that have basically decided to be ABC title company or whatnot, and that's just metaphorical. I don't know of an ABC title, but, or I should say it's for the purposes of illustration. But by and large, real estate closings in Massachusetts are controlled entirely by attorneys. And my law firm, Foy Law Office PLLC, we handle real estate transactions in Massachusetts. And I am admitted to practice law in Massachusetts. So I would say probably half of my business consists of handling real estate transactions in Massachusetts. So if we're doing a closing in New Hampshire or Maine, that transaction will be handled by Sunset Settlement Company. If we're doing a transaction in Massachusetts or Rhode Island, that transaction will be handled by Foy Law Office PLLC. One is a law firm, a professional limited liability company and a law firm. The other is a title company, which is a limited liability company, both of which are domiciled in the state of New Hampshire. I hope this video presentation has been helpful. We have to take it one step at a time. I would love to do a single video where I could debunk every myth and explode every misconception that there is about our real estate marketplace and the process of buying and selling real estate. But there's just too much ground to cover, and there are frankly too many misconceptions out there. So we have to do this responsibly, we need to take it one step at a time. And so today, I hope that I've been able to shed a little bit of light on the differences between law firms and title companies. And again, the primary differences are really what is required of a firm to handle a real estate transaction in that particular state. Some states require that attorneys and law firms handle real estate transactions. In some states, it's permissible for title companies to handle real estate transactions. If you go out to the West Coast, you'll find a lot of the title insurance companies, which are the massive title insurance companies that insure all real estate transactions. A lot of those firms have actually entered the marketplace directly and conducted what are known as direct operations. So they've cut out maybe the middle person, the lawyer, the little title company, and they've gone right to the end user, the buyers and sellers of real estate, and handled real estate transactions for them. So it's really different everywhere. So I think that you have to almost ask yourself, where am I looking to buy or sell? And then once you've answered that question, then you'll have a better idea of whether you should be reaching out to a title company or whether you should be reaching out to a lawyer. In any case, I hope, if nothing comes through from this video, I hope this comes through. I hope you are reaching out to me, because whether it's Sunset Settlement Company or Foy Law Office, I'm an attorney with nearly 20 years of experience handling real estate matters, and I would love nothing more than to have you as a client and to help you in your real estate transaction, whether you are buying, selling, or refinancing real estate. It is Thursday, December 4th. I had to think about that for a minute. It's early in the morning and I have not had a lot of coffee, but I enjoy doing these video presentations and I hope you enjoy watching them. Tune in for the next one. I'll tease it by saying I have absolutely no idea what the subject matter of that next video will be, but I can tell you that it will be interesting and I can tell you that it will be about real estate. Bye for now and have a wonderful day.